On this week's episode of Travel Evolved, we're going to introduce you to the new series, Travel Evolved. We're going to walk you through what this series is going to be all about, let you know a little bit of why we came up with this and how we're going to go and how we're going to roll. So, cue the new theme music. This is Travel Evolved. This is Travel Evolved. I'm Mark Holloway. Welcome to the podcast. Welcome to the YouTube channel. I'm extremely excited about this. This has been a long time coming. This has been a long time in the works, and I guess you never look a gift horse in the mouth. For a lot of reasons, this has been pushed faster than I wanted to, and it's really a blessing in disguise. I'm just ready to go. This has been something I've been wanting to do. I'm like, we got to finish some other stuff. So this is, in fact, the YouTube channel and the podcast that's going to hopefully stand the test of time. What you're going to hear today is why I created this and why I'm so excited and just wanted to get on this as fast as I possibly could. And so that's what we're going to cover today. So let's jump right in. What is Travel Evolved? I've said before that our industry is a dinosaur. I mean, man, I've never seen something that has evolved less than the travel industry. You guys know it's been well documented. Talk about dinosaurs. Well, you're looking at one. Yours truly. I'm a dinosaur in this industry. I've been that way for a long time. I am old as dirt, and I've been doing this for most of my career. I got my career in advertising, and when I got married, I just kind of found myself in this business to basically, I got brought in for advertising and marketing. Next thing you know, I kind of fell in love with it. And it's so unique that I really went, wow. And here 21 years later, I'm kind of surprised I'm still in this industry. But what I have noticed is that this industry hasn't evolved at all. Hence the name Travel Evolved. We're going to try to change that. But I just want to point that out. A lot of you that have started watching me on different things and maybe have discovered me, hopefully you have, and I can't thank you enough. Give me an opportunity to dazzle you. I think I will. I'm going to throw some things out there. But for those of you that do know me, it's always driven me nuts that we are in such a unique world. And I think a lot of companies primarily, and facilities and vendors, we all kind of prey upon that. We kind of prey upon the fact that no one knows about this. You guys get most of your education and knowledge through other travelers. And there's some really great value to that. There absolutely is. I mean, don't get me wrong. But what you have with me is somebody's going to come in and create some uniqueness and tell you some things that you're not going to hear from the only people that can tell you, and that's from what's happening on this side of the desk, the agency side, the travel company, the travel agency standpoint. And that's what Travel Evolved is. If I can show you guys some things, like I've always done, you're going to evolve in yourself and your career and as a traveler, and hopefully all of you collectively will evolve as travelers. And the industry is going to change. I want to change this industry, and I need your help in doing it. And I think if you guys want to change, because you seem to tell me that you are all the time out there, whether you're telling me or each other, I got the way to do it. And you have to educate each other and yourselves and your collective peers so that we can, in fact, change this. We can evolve the world of travel. So I guess let's just start off with the fact that it just hasn't. It has not changed in forever. I've never seen an industry, and again, I can only speak for 21 years. I was, like many of you, before you got into either nursing school or you were becoming an allied professional, you may not even heard of the world of travel with regard to healthcare. I did hear about it with IT even back in the dark ages when there barely was IT. I'm just kidding. But it is something that you guys learn about in school. You learn about in your tech school. You learn about in nursing school as you're going through and becoming, getting your doctorate, all that kind of fun stuff. As you're becoming a traveler, it's now being taught. And what's wild is the industry is the same as it was 21 years ago when I got into it. It hasn't changed a lick. The only thing that's really changed is perhaps the technology, whether it's email, texting, you name it. I mean, those things didn't exist. I mean, believe it or not, we used to have things faxed over. I'm not going to tell you that. I was about to tell you how bad the fax machines were when I first got in the industry, but I'm not going to, because that's just going to make me feel a lot earlier than I already feel on a daily basis. But let me just tell you, it was some pretty bad technology. And that's just the way the industry's always been. So it isn't moving forward. You guys are starting to propel it forward a little bit on what you're doing on social media primarily. I got to get used to this mic in front of me like this. And that's wonderful. And I think that's got to continue. What you're going to get from me is not going to replace that. What you're going to get from me is some things you probably have never heard of before on this side of the desk. If you have, you probably heard it from me, right? So we're going to continue that. I'm going to continue that theme and that atmosphere because I think it's important. You're not going to grow and get better unless you understand what you have to be aware of, what you need to embrace, what you need to walk away from. And that's what Travel Evolved is going to be. It is going to be the evolution of travel. And I'm telling you, if there's one thing that I think that can change it, that's it. Because you guys tell me what else it's going to be. What is it going to change the industry? Is it going to be hospitals and facilities? No. Is it going to be new agencies? Maybe a little bit, but probably not. It can be you guys, but it has to be where you got to get a megaphone out and start, standing on the top of your lungs and start screaming, what's the problem with the industry. We're going to cover that here, for sure. But up until now, basically, the only real help I've seen in 21 years, and only very recently, maybe 25%, maybe even less of that time, mostly because of social media, is travelers helping other travelers. That's what I've seen. That's what's happening out there. You guys have always been the ones, man, I got to watch out. This is not going to work. Probably got to fix that for next episode. You guys are the ones that are helping each other, and you're not relying upon agencies. You can't because you don't trust us legitimately. I get it. You're not going to rely upon the hospitals because guess what? You guys don't trust them legitimately. I get it. Vendors are kind of in the middle of it. You don't even know sometimes who they are, who to contact or talk to. So they're really not part of that equation. So you guys have been forced to educate each other. And I guess the good and bad is that the good news is it's coming from you guys. So it's trustworthy and people are going to hear it. The bad thing is there's also a lot of stuff out there that's not very accurate, whether it's a new traveler spouting his or her opinion that I've seen those people get beat up on by the masses saying, no, you're wrong. Or it's just flat out wrong information, which is unfortunate. I've always said, and I'll say this, I can't tell you how often, in the next, who knows how long we'll do this, but it'll be for a long time. This is a long-staying thing. That you guys have got to continue that part of what your education is. That was, in other words, teaching each other. That has to happen. What I want to be able to do in this podcast and this YouTube channel is to add to that by giving you some of the maybe you didn't know it stuff from the back end. And if I can incorporate that into what you guys already know, you're going to be a force to be reckoned with. And I think that's the key to being an evolved traveler and for us to have a podcast and YouTube channel called, in fact, Travel Evolved. Up until now, it's always been you guys. You guys are the only ones that have tried to help each other. And sometimes, as I've said before, you guys don't often want to help each other. There's competition and things we'll talk about. But let's just say at the very beginning, right here and right now, that up until relatively recently, the majority of the education, the help, and the knowledge that has come from travelers helping other travelers. And while that's great, there's got to be a little bit more to it than just that. So I think agencies have jumped into social media, and let's be frank, what they're doing is they're trying to help themselves. I've seen, and I guess there's more coming, and people are jumping into it, but if you really read between the lines, listen to what they're saying. They're saying, maybe we'll talk about whatever their topic is the day of the week, but it always comes back to, by the way, come work for me and come work for us because we're wonderful and we're better than the other 200 companies that look exactly like us. There's always that hidden agenda. There isn't anything that I've seen from an agency standpoint that says, hey, you know what, maybe we're not the right company for you. And I'm telling you, I will tell you that I might not be the right company for you. This is not going to be a commercial for what I'm doing. I promise that. But we're going to have some honest conversations. And I just believe that what you guys have seen from a lot of other companies out there isn't always, I don't want to say it's dishonest, it's just not an honest part of the equation, because they're always going to try to promote themselves. That's just, I don't blame them. By the way, for those of you that do that and companies out there that are doing that, I get it. I mean, you guys aren't dumb. And all of you travelers out there realize it too. They're not dumb. So no one's going to come out and beat up their own company, but it does make it so that sometimes they're not going to want to tell you the full picture. That's just the way it is. And I think anybody out there that has a company would admit that that's the truth. I can't always say everything because I don't really want to, because it may not shed our company on the right light, or it may not shed the light on the industry. And I'm trying to attract people to either come to my company or be a traveler and stay and, of course, work for us and generate a lot of revenue for our agency. That's the fact, right? So agencies want to help themselves. There really isn't anything substantial that I've seen from a facility standpoint. I've never, and maybe it's coming, I've never seen a facility of any kind do a podcast. I mean, they do have them, so don't get me wrong, but they've never done a podcast that was aimed at helping travelers. That's what I've said. I have seen podcasts. I've seen managers of units talk about travelers, and they've kind of walked through how they staff, but nothing that would really make a good content to help you guys be a better traveler at their facility or any other. So I'm not sure if I can help you on that regard. We're going to talk a lot about facilities in some ways, but again, you're going to learn, unfortunately, the school of hard knocks that way. I can't be a facility and teach you what it's like to work at my facility. I'm not capable of that. I'm not a facility. So there isn't really anything. You guys have been helping each other. Agencies are helping themselves, and facilities are kind of non-existent. And we got to change that. A lot of that stuff has to change, and I'm going to do my darndest to add to what you guys already know. So I'm going to kind of be a megaphone for what I'm hearing and reading, what people are telling me out there. That'll be part of my job on this podcast and this YouTube channel, is to kind of help communicate what I'm seeing and what I'm hearing. And I'm also going to put in the things that I know that happen on my end of the business. And I'm going to do my best to kind of give you an insight through vendors and through facilities as to what they're experiencing and how we can change some things to help you become stronger and better, make more money, be happier, all the things I've always been a big proponent of. So let's jump in. First of all, new format. Obviously, some of you guys have seen me in some other things. If you haven't, welcome. I'm the idiot that's sit here and tell you all about the things that you probably already know, but maybe there's a few things you don't. The big change here is that we're going to have some current topics. What I believe in is that we're going to be talking about some things that are here and now. This is not like I've done in the past where it's a series. This is a podcast in its truest sense of the form, which means today we're going to talk about things that are happening today. And so we're going to be dealing with some quick current topics. I want to tell you, I'm going to continue to explore topics that I've covered in the past. For those of you that are coming on, with me from another avenue, we're going to continue to talk about those things. I'm going to re-explore a lot of those, and I'm also going to talk about some things I've never talked about before. So there are topics that I've always wanted to cover, but I haven't, and I'm going to on this as well. So it's going to be timely, but it's going to be based upon what's hot. So in other words, if there's something actively going on right now in our world, I'm going to see if I can incorporate that into some of the things I've either talked about previously or things that I had planned on talking about, and envelop those into today's conversation, which I think is going to be kind of cool for you guys, and hopefully it'll be more timely. So the idea here is that hopefully you'll tune in every week. I will tell you, I'm trying to plan on I'll tell you a little bit later when I'm going to release these, but it's going to be at least weekly. So every week there'll be something new coming from your friend at Travel Evolved. So biggest change I think on this is that I'm going to be having a lot of guests on. About a year and a half ago when I did some other stuff, the technology just wasn't really there. And I keep saying by the way all the time, and it's driving myself nuts. So that's going to change right away. The technology wasn't really there to adhere to good sound quality for podcasts, for a guest to come on board, unless they're literally sitting right here at this conference table with me. And I've got 4 or 5 mics, so they could. But that makes it difficult for me to get the guests I want to, because most of the guests I want to bring on this show are going to be from all over the country. Same thing with video. For the YouTube channel, you've got a grainy video, and things just really weren't there. So the wonderful thing is, and it's getting better and better, is that every time I look, there's new products, new avenues, new platforms that allow for really, really strong guests to come on board. Mostly, and you guys all know, I'm a bigger fan of the podcast version than I am of the YouTube channel, because I just can't stand looking at myself. And I just think this kind of knowledge information really lends itself well to listening, because you can do it in your car, you can do it when you're working out, and you can get some wonderful knowledge, hopefully, as you're just kind of moving forward. So it lends itself better to that. So I think that it's going to having guests on here is going to be a big part of this podcast. And I've already talked to a whole bunch of people, by the way. So a lot of the guests are, in fact, going to be you guys. My biggest priority is going to be to get travelers on Travel Evolved. The ones that have struck me as these people have a pretty good knowledge base of what's going on out there. I want them to teach me some things, which as I'm learning, so are you guys are going to be listening and tuning in. So I've already sought out some really good veteran travelers that either emulate things that I don't know or things that I agree with, and we're going to have some great communication and conversations about it. It's important that you guys hear from your peers and not just me. That's, I think, the biggest change is that I'm going to be interviewing some people to try to pick their brains to see if we can get some new information that we've never heard of before and really incorporate it into more of what your job is on a daily basis, which clearly I can't talk intelligently about. I cannot tell you what it's like to work in a hospital or a facility on a daily basis, but if they can, it's going to be magic here, which I think is going to be great. We're also going to talk to a lot of industry leaders. I mean, again, this is not something where people are going to come on and promote their company. I don't believe in that. It doesn't help you guys. You guys are here to learn some stuff and to elevate your travel game. So if there are industry leaders that can help do that, absolutely. I'm going to be a big fan of disruptors. You guys have, I've been called that for most of my career. And by the way, that's just getting started. If you thought I was disruptive before, wait until you see this. It's going to be a little bit more interesting, and a lot of really cool stuff is coming. So if you want to see a disruptor, you're going to see it right here, because we're going to change this industry by hook or crook if we have to. But also, again, a lot of veteran travelers, a lot of industry leaders. So it's not just going to be the people that you see and hear on other shows on our platforms. They've already been on there. And if you're here to promote a company or a Facebook group, I'm not interested in that. I'm here and I'm interested in you if you can help other travelers become better. So that's the kind of guests we're going to have. So obviously the guests are oftentimes going to dictate the topic. If I can incorporate current event into that topic and maybe some things that I've learned and some things I've done previously or things I planned on doing, that's the whole idea, is that we're going to incorporate all kinds of stuff based upon the guest and what he or she wants to talk about when we have guests. And we're not going to have them every time. But it's going to be pretty fun to kind of go down that realm as we move into that field. So that's the main thing. This is going to be more of a traditional podcast where there are going to be a lot of guests on there. The technology is what I'm getting at, is it should sound to be a pretty decent quality. We'll experiment a little bit. But I think over time, very quickly, we'll have some pretty good products and things that are going to work for us, that are going to make this an enjoyable thing to listen to, an enjoyable thing to hopefully watch as well. So I guess that's the main thing. All right, here's the real kicker. The other thing I'm super excited about is I'm going to take you along on a wild ride with me. And this is what always has been the idea for me, is that I thought it'd be really fun to kind of have you guys come along a ride with me as I create and develop and improve a brand new type and a brand new travel agency. That was always the idea, and it's kind of cool because I've been planning on this for quite a while. So I'm prepared in time, not right away, but as we move into Travel Evolved, I'm going to take you on a ride with me. And it's a wild ride. Some of you are really, really interested in what it's like to start and maybe work for or be behind the scenes of a travel company. And I'm going to share that with you. Again, a lot of people have talked about their company, but I don't know anybody that's going to be as willing as I am, of course, to talk about everything. Nothing's off limits, as we'll say about this repeatedly, and that's the same thing. When you build a company, there's a lot of heartache, there's a lot of celebration. Good and bad and different happens throughout the course of building that company, and I want to bring you guys along that journey with me. I think for some of you it'd be really, really cool. Others it may not be of interest with you, but I do know that kind of hearing that as we talk to guests, as we incorporate some things, I want to tell you a little bit about what happened this week. And I think it'll be fun to have you guys be a part of that. So if you're looking for something a little bit different, I think that's also the kicker. Again, you know me. There's going to be nothing off limits. So if it happened, we're going to talk about it, and it's going to be really fun. And there's always going to be some episodes where it's going to be like, well, I really don't want to talk about that, but I'm making that promise to you guys that I want you to hear it all. And it is a storytelling type atmosphere where you guys are going to be a part of that journey. And I'm really excited to share it with you. And again, it can't be right away, but as I move into some of this stuff and I'm able to start to share some information about my agency, I'm certainly going to talk to you guys about that, which I think will be one of the biggest changes of what I've done before. And again, I've never seen or heard anybody that's done that before, but I'm going to start that out. I think it'll be a really unique idea. It's just something that you may or may not have ever been involved in before. Like some of you, again, want to become a recruiter. Some of you may want to be part of this. Some of you are looking at starting your own company. And as always with me, I don't know anybody else that's going to give you the information that I know. And hopefully that'll be helpful for you. And you may change your mind and say, absolutely not, I don't want to. That's the whole point, is you can see the things that are great. And there's a lot of cool stuff about being on this side of the desk. There's a lot of things that aren't so cool. So I do think, again, that hearing this stuff and being a part of that makes us all better. So the reason I want to share a lot of that with you isn't just to tell the story, but it's also to kind of get you involved so you have a little bit of understanding going, oh, I kind of understand now what it's like to be a part of a travel agency, and maybe you'll have a little bit of appreciation, which I think will help you become a little bit more of a stronger traveler, which is what the whole idea of this thing is. As always with me, guys, and I put this down here, nothing is going to be off limits, which includes that. For those of you that know me and know what I've been doing for the last 6 or 7 years, there isn't anything that I'm not willing to talk about. And I have topics already planned that are going to curl your hair. You're not going to believe the stuff that I'm willing to tackle. And I'm telling you, nobody else will, because it's scary. It may not present the industry in the right light. It may not present an agency in the right light. I'll get better at that. But it's the facts. It's the truth. And one of the things that I'm a big believer in is that communication and openness is going to change things a lot. And that is what I believe is fundamentally missing from our industry. And again, if you're going to hear that from me, maybe you can incorporate that with the company you're working for, and maybe you can understand how things work a little bit better. But the topics and things that I've already got planned, and I've got some doozies, guys and gals, and you're going to hear the topic and you're going to go, oh my gosh, I can't believe he's going to talk about it. And trust me and believe me, we're going to talk about it because I think it's important. So obviously, that's going to be the whole basis of Travel Evolved. It's going to be information that I don't think you're going to get anywhere else. You guys already are getting tons of wonderful information from different sources that has to do with different parts of our wheel of how this whole business works. What I want to offer for you guys is a little bit unique perspective from an agency standpoint. But again, as I've always said, kind of exposing some things that I think are deliberately meant to confuse you, deliberately meant to be cloudy so that you guys don't always understand how our simplistic part of our business works. And it's easy to understand. And I think if you understand it better, you're going to be better and you're going to make more money and you're going to be happier, and hopefully you'll stay in the industry longer. You'll stay doing what it is that you do, you wonderful, wonderful, wonderful people, you. And I think that's missing. So many people that are in healthcare get out because they aren't making enough money, they're underappreciated, they're not having much fun, and they get jaded. Maybe, just maybe, I can help one person's career to stay a little longer, and that might affect a patient down the road. We'll see how that works out. But that's all part of the idea of things, right? I guess for lack of better timing and better word, I can't wait to get this started. I have been waiting for a while. It's been struggling. I'm like going, I've been counting down the episodes on some other stuff that I've done, and I wanted to get on this as fast as possible. So I'm excited about getting this going. If you guys are ready to hear this, and again, if you found me on, whether it's YouTube, go look and search for Travel Evolved on your favorite podcast platform. If you are listening to me on a podcast, please seek out our Travel Evolved YouTube channel that we have on YouTube and subscribe to that. So hit the bell to get, notifications when new episodes come out, and you'll get those notifications. Definitely subscribe to whatever platform it is you love, and hopefully more and more of those platforms, your favorite one will be on there soon. If not, listen to another platform until your favorite one comes out, and I can't thank you enough for doing that. The idea here is I'm going to try to get a little over one a week, which, I do like that once every kind of 6 days if possible. Again, I've got a lot of things going on. I've got a company to run. This is, in fact, on the side, and if I can carve out, and I'm committed to this, I will do everything I can to try to adhere to that schedule, even when I'm traveling. So I've got some stuff I can take on the road with me, and that'll be happening relatively soon. So hopefully about every 6 days, you'll see a new episode. If you subscribe, you'll know, and you won't be surprised. You won't miss out on something. So that's the general idea. Guys, I guess I just want to let you know that how grateful I am that you found me. I really, really hope that you tune in and take this ride with me. I'm going to make it as fun as I can. I'm going to make it as interesting as I can. And I promise you that I'll always put some thought behind this and try to come up with content that I think is going to be valuable to you. I'm going to try to schedule guests that are going to share that content and that value. I really, really, really want this to be something that is the paramount and the best thing you've heard in travel, whether you're an allied professional or a nurse. That's the idea. I want us to be where you guys are tuning in because you can't wait to hear what we're going to talk about because it's valuable to you. And if I don't present something valuable to you, you're not going to tune in. So I hope you tune in. Guys, that's it. Thank you for being a part of this. I think you guys that are listening to me from the get-go are going to be the catalyst that change the industry and make travel evolved. And that's the whole idea behind everything that we're doing and pretty much everything that has been my career up until now. Got some wonderful, wonderful things coming. I think there's some great things coming in the industry. I'll leave you guys with that today. For those of you who have been a little bit jaded, maybe a little bit discouraged lately, hang in there. Good stuff is happening. I see it. It's not just from me. It's from a lot of other people that do what I do. It's from a lot of you guys. It's from hospitals. It's from vendors. There are some cool things happening, so hang in there. We're going to make some differences in this industry, and we're going to make travel evolved. We'll see you next time. Thanks for tuning in. I really appreciate it.